All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I'm your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everyone.
And the big question right now is, has Andrew Yang penetrated the establishment glass ceiling? Has he, quote, moved the needle? Has he finally moved hearts and minds with the impenetrable Tom Perez in the DNC? He thinks so, according to his latest tweet and the latest speech at the DNC summer meeting. Cody, tell us what's going on.
All right, yeah. So for anyone who is unaware, to be frank, I wasn't until yesterday. 13 presidential hopefuls appeared at the DNC meeting in San Francisco. I believe it was officially, so the Democratic presidential candidates for 2020 election are set to speak include, and you can see goes from Michael Bennet, Cory Booker, Seth Moulton, Tim Ryan, Amy Klobuchar, Bernie Sanders, Julian Castro. Everyone was there, including Andrew Yang. And I believe this was the DNC Summer Summit in San Francisco. Anyway, I'm just going to show anyone familiar with Andrew Yang's speeches probably has seen the first 15 minutes or so, or the first 7 minutes.
Yeah, you
of
hear
speech.
a lot of the same platitudes and catchsphrases.
But what we're actually looking for here is listen to the crowd response he gets. This is just the finale of the speech. By the way, shout out to the Zach and Matt show on YouTube. That's where I'm grabbing this video from. So thanks, guys. You can see their watermark in the corner. But yeah, I just wanted to play the reaction just to. This is what it sounded like when he wrapped up. And keep an eye on this gentleman right here. This is Tom Perez, DNC head.
All the problems that got Donald Trump elected. If you remember in 2016, what did he say? He said, we're going to make America great again. And then what did Hillary respond? America is already great. And that did not quite work. His solutions were garbage and nonsense. He said, we're going to build a wall, we're going to turn the clock back, we're going to bring the old jobs back. We have to do the opposite of all of that. We have to turn the clock forward.
Garbage and nonsense.
We have to accelerate our society and economy. We have to evolve in the way we think about work and value. And I am the ideal candidate for that job because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. Thank you very much, Democrats. Thank you very much. Let's make America think harder and win. Thank you.
What's interesting is you read in the body language a lot of those people, and at the beginning they didn't seem too interested.
Well, no, because I want to show you another clip from this where they were pretty engaged throughout. It was a 9-minute speech. It wasn't a super long speech, but they were fairly engaged throughout.
At the beginning, you could definitely tell, at least it seemed to me, disinterest. And I understand.
Oh, not at all.
I study psychology. You might be projecting your own, Well,
here, check this out. This is from earlier in the speech. Where'd I put it? Here we go. It's from earlier in the speech. Check out Tom Perez. Look at him. He leans over to the other two gentlemen on his left.
Now, do we have it completely confirmed that he said this is good? I know it looks
probably
like
not.
that.
He probably didn't say this is good, but still, I mean, he's smiling and he's looking at other people up there and he's saying like, hey, he's not scowling, he's not frowning. The gentleman on the far right, you can kind of see him. He's in like the gray suit. He actually was filming Andrew Yang with his iPhone multiple times throughout the speech. So it seemed like some of those DNC establishment people who maybe, he's been on the debate stage. I know who this Andrew Yang guy is, but what is he really about? And then they saw him speak for 9 minutes, and standing ovation is what the reaction was.
Do you notice the more Republican their candidates sound, the more that their party bosses smile? No.
Well, no, because I believe this individual clip, I mean, listen to what he's talking about. I'll play the volume. You can read the subtitles, but I'll play what he says.
If you think about it, we're at record. How many of you were excited about GDP when you woke up this morning? How many of you were like, I'm going to make a big contribution today. I can feel it. If you think about it,
he's talking about how like GDP is like some dumb metric. He talks about it all the time. Republican talking point, him saying that who cares about GDP? GDP is a bad measurement. GDP doesn't talk about how our lives are working. I mean, that is not exactly the right-wing talking point. That's more, honestly, it's kind of more modern thing, honestly. Even the left, I don't remember criticizing that particular aspect of the economy as much. So I think that was one of the reasons why he was like, hey, that's a good point. Like why are we focused on GDP?
Also, it's important that these people, it's important that he puncture through, because while you got Tulsi Gabbard writing the letter and Tom Steyer complaining about, disinclusion and things like that, at the same time, there is a system, there is an establishment. Like the establishment is just this harsh reality every candidate with good ideas has to deal with. And even Andrew Yang on the H3 podcast said this town has a tendency to just chew up idealists and spit them out. Well, sometimes that's the establishment's fault, but other times it's the candidate's fault, because sometimes candidates can't learn to play a new game. And that doesn't mean the game's always bad. It means that you have to be adaptable. And to a certain extent, I guess fitting into the establishment is a certain test of mettle, because whether you like it or not, if you do become president, you're going to have to deal with a much larger establishment now than just your own party politics. I mean, you're dealing with an establishment of what U.S.-Russia relations are, U.S.-Colombia and Venezuela relations are, U.S. and Japan and China and Hong Kong and Taiwan relations are. So I think it's very interesting that Andrew Yang said he felt something. He says he thought he moved the needle, and it brings to mind several breakthrough speeches that certain presidential candidates have had in the past. I'm thinking of JFK in Houston at the Rice Hotel, where he was speaking with a lot of Protestant ministers that were concerned about influence from the Pope coming through a Catholic running for president. I think of Ronald Reagan in his first speech at the RNC, where he infamously said that the closest thing to eternal life that we have found is a government bureaucracy. And he made the limited government argument that launched him into stardom in the RNC. And then also Barack Obama. I mean, Barack Obama, when he gave that first address from the Senate, having been, I think, only like the second or third African-American to have won a Senate seat, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a pretty significant milestone that a lot of people weren't completely highlighting yet. And then he has this breakthrough performance at the DNC. These things do matter. And the fact that, and we don't know exactly what Tom Perez is saying because we didn't have him hot mic'd up like Obama was hot mic'd up when he said that he would be able to help out Putin more in his second term of presidency. We didn't have him hot mic'd up, but the body language is obviously positive, and the body language is obviously affirmative in a way that seems like he's been positively impressed. And if there's anybody you need to positively impress, if you're going to make it through as a Democrat, it's Tom Perez, the director of the DNC, or the chairman, I'm sorry, of the DNC. Am I going wrong here, Cody?
Well, to be honest, I didn't watch every single speech. I just have a hunch that all 17 candidates didn't receive a standing ovation at the end of their speech. I think that probably is unique for him. So yeah, I agree. I think this is a really good moment for him to kind of break into. Like I said, a lot of people say the DNC is trying to keep Yang out. They don't want him. I almost wonder if it's just a little bit like, who's this guy? He's never held office. Why should we care? Why should we waste any time on him? So I think him just getting in front of the DNC and having a chance to just kind of show what he's about. We saw that maybe some of them were in their heads like, oh, this Yang guy, what is he talking? And then he goes up there and they're like, oh, you know what? That's a platform, man. We could run a campaign around. We could win a campaign on this. And this is how you do it. You just stay in it. I'm going to actually flash over. I don't have all of the segments picked out, so I'm just going to kind of play some audio in the background on mute for a second. But Andrew Yang actually did a Instagram live just before he went live and gave the speech.
Okay. Any highlights?
Interesting tidbits. He's mostly flying coach.
I wonder if people recognize him.
That would be fun. I mean, it's got to happen at least once or twice. I mean,
I would pay a bounty for that footage.
Oh, yeah. I went to the liquor store one day wearing my math hat, and the guy at the liquor store was like, "Oh, you know Andrew Yang, huh?" So like, I'm assuming when he sees people on planes that recognize him.
Yeah, okay.
That was funny. I guess he had a little moment where he said like, "Hey, I just actually got to fly on Delta extended legroom because we got more donations this quarter. So thanks, guys." That was interesting. One tidbit he did drop I thought was kind of interesting as well. He said that it's going to be interesting to see who drops out in the next coming weeks. We just saw Inslee and Hickenlooper dropped out.
Ooh.
And he said,
is he going Andrew the Oracle on Cody the Oracle? And,
well, no, because this is his
divining the loss of candidates?
His evidence was pretty good. It's like I can kind of tell who is having fun on the campaign trail and who isn't. Oh. And he didn't give away more than that. But he's like, if you're not having fun, you can't wake up and do this every day if you're not having fun.
Yeah,
and,
that's a very good point.
And so I thought that was interesting. He kind of gave the hint that, like, I definitely noticed there's other people out here that are not enjoying themselves.
Did he name names, Cody?
No, of course not. He's a very nice man, so he wouldn't do that. But and then there was one other thing I wanted to pull from that was the big thing I thought. It was kind of funny. He's flying coach. He was speaking pretty candidly about noticing other candidates are kind of starting to not have as much fun as the race. It's getting tense, right? Like, Think about it. He just goes to the debate the next 2 months. Even if he just stopped campaigning, he's going to be in the debate stage for the next 2 months. So it's easier for him than for other candidates. But I mean, a speech at the DNC.
And he did it without buying the election like Tom Steyer.
Yeah, well, Tom Steyer.
What do you know?
Tom Steyer might still miss the debate, man, after spending millions. He might still miss. I don't think he will, but he still might. Actually, hold on a minute. I think it's like in the next day or so you have to qualify.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cool that.
What do you bet that there's Tom Steyer ads even on our YouTube videos? That's how desperate this guy has become. And how
probably.
much money he has to just throw at this election.
Well, I've seen Tulsi ads in our videos. I mean, it's, you know.
And Marianne Williamson, we officially got hit up by the Orb gang. Remember, there was, see, there it is right there. There's a Marianne Williamson ad right there.
Well, no, yeah, we get a lot of Marianne ads.
I'm loving this. I wonder what about our algorithms and our content. I'm sorry, what about our content makes the algorithms think that we're Marianne Williamson people?
I think she's just spending heavier on advertising, like web ads on these websites, to be my guess.
Okay, interesting.
Because I see her ads a lot, but I go to like USA Today, The Hill, and Real Clear Politics all the time, and I think that's where she is all the time. But I brought this up for another reason, not just to highlight Miss Williams.
Okay.
But also because this one something I want to show and look at is we pull this up all the time. Anyone who watches our videos is familiar with the screen. This is the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination polling aggregate. Essentially, they take all the poll figures, smash them together, and then give you a general number. So we look at Andrew Yang. He's still at 1.8. He's been floating at about 2%, plus or minus a couple, half a point for a while. And I wonder if this speech did really help break him into the DNC and kind of open up their eyes a little bit. Where do you think he will be 60 days from now? So October 24th. Where do you think you're going to see Andrew Yang?
It depends on how far the reach of the marketing arm of the DNC proper actually is. I'm thinking of Ronald Reagan's speech at the RNC. Back when that happened, that was before the famous William F. Buckley interview when pundits came out and people would actually watch the actual content of the DNC and the RNC a lot more. Obviously, the same thing with JFK. People would actually watch the content of the DNC and the RNC. Now we actually watch the interpretation of the talking heads of the content and the highlight reels of the content. So it would depend on whether or not he made it into the highlight reels that made it into the mainstream media. And obviously he's got Tom Perez's buy-in, it seems, but we don't know whether he's got the buy-in of the media. And honestly, if you don't have the buy-in of the media, or should I say the propaganda arm of the DNC, if you don't have the buy-in of the propaganda minister, then you're still not going to be getting all of the pub. So this is a good thing. And I said he moved the needle. He didn't say he spiked the needle, but I do believe that would be a moving of the needle in the proper direction towards securing him further success in the DNC party nomination process. So anyway, if you guys... tell us if you think we're going wrong, if you got an alternate interpretation of all of this data, let us know. Please comment below. If you haven't liked this video, please like. It helps us out a lot. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you want to contribute to the channel, make sure you come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we do our live streams. You can super chat us your questions and we'll answer them live on air, or you can check out the PayPal link below. Also, at the end of this video, there's a chance for you to subscribe with this cool little icon right here. And you can also watch our latest 2 videos over here if you missed us. So make sure you check those out. This is Problem Solver Politics.